Hello there guys, what is going on? Son of Chelsea back here again for another edition of Let's Talk Chelsea, the show where we take a look at some of the biggest news stories surrounding Chelsea in recent days. Got some interesting stories as ever to discuss with you today and to get your opinions on. Before we get into that, just want to give a shout out to my latest video, which was discussing Chelsea, Southampton, Willian's form, the England call-ups, and basically the rest of the season with Joe Nilzeka. Really interesting discussion, so go and check that out. Link will be in the description box below. And also a shout out for my article this week for the Chelsea Echo, which also was on Willian and his upturn in form recently. Both of those links will be in the description box below, so go and check them out. But getting into Let's Talk Chelsea today now, sort of have two sort of main stories to discuss, but I wanted to touch on this before recording. I sort of felt that I needed to touch on it just in case it gets announced by the time this is uploaded. That there could be new contract deals announced for Tammy Abraham and Fikayo Tomori. Now, it could be both at the same time. It could be one of them. This has been rumoured before, and I've touched on this with Let's Talk Chelsea. And Tammy Abraham, another report came out about him getting that new deal extended to 2024, it is believed. And it's not that surprising, really. You know, you look at the great business Chelsea have done with Mason Mount, Ruben Loftus-CHEEK, recently, of course, the mega deal for Callum Hudson-ODOI, which went on for so long. And these are two players now that are so integral to Frank Lampard's starting 11. So it's not surprising the club have been very quick to get those deals over the line to secure the futures of these players. But just wanted to touch on that, and it's going to be great when those deals do get announced, because they're big for Chelsea at the moment, and they're two key players that are doing so well on the pitch and are only going to get better, hopefully. So just wanted to touch on them. But the other story to touch on today, and was sort of really got fans debating on Twitter, which was an interview by Matt Law that was done with Micheal Emenalo, the former technical director at Chelsea, and sort of his opinions on basically having to fight to keep the Chelsea Academy open. And he made some interesting quotes which I want to touch on right now, and then we'll debate further. So his quotes were: "I defended the Chelsea Academy when there was pressure and doubt and pessimism. There was a time when there was a clamour to do more, and a manager came in to make a presentation to say the academy was not necessary. The argument was it takes too long, we don't have time. We should use it to make some money here and there, and Neo should stop pumping money into it because it seemed like a waste. But that wasn't my idea, and I had to fight against it. This is where I am very, very proud of the owner, Roman Abramovich. Because of the trust he had in me and the willingness to listen to me and give the academy time, he would not abandon it. He believed in it and me, and I can't thank him enough." Now, it is interesting on Micheal Emenalo because he is a character that does sort of divide opinion. I think back to the palpable Discord comments, the infamous comments he made after Jose Mourinho sacking the second time, and sort of the feeling around his personality and sort of around his character, and you know, there wasn't much goodwill towards him. But sort of in retrospect, not just only on this article, but the role of technical director, how important it is in modern football at the top of the game at the moment. You know, were we too harsh as fans on him? I mean, that's the question I sort of want to pose, because he is such an important role, and it's a role we've yet to fill. You know, there's been talks of maybe Michael Ballack coming into that role, and several other figures that have been named, but it's still a role that hasn't been, you know, resolved, and it's one that I'd like to see resolved sooner rather than later, because I think it is so integral to the club. But yeah, it is interesting, and specifically that manager, whoever it was, coming in and doing a presentation to shut down the academy. Now, I don't want to speculate too much, because I think this comes down to personal preference of who you do and don't like as a manager. You know, I can imagine a lot of people maybe saying Villas-Boas would be a manager that you'd name because there wasn't much good faith towards him. Maybe you could say Jose at times because of his track record with developing young players. Maybe even Conte in his time there. But it's hard to speculate, but it's good that Emenalo was very sort of adamant and won that battle. But it's not, you know, I don't think it was as much of a 50-50 case here. I think Roman has always wanted to see young players come through, and that's always been part of his vision, and now it's coming to fruition with a talented group of players under a manager who believes in them. With the transfer ban and Lampard, it's really come to fruition very quickly. Those are interesting quotes, and I want to know your opinions on Micheal Emenalo and these quotes. You know, who did you think the manager was? I'm interested to hear your thoughts, and just around Emenalo as a character. Do you think Chelsea fans were too harsh to him? Let me know in the comments below. The next story is about Ethan Ampadu and his lack of playing time since moving on loan to RB Leipzig in the summer. Now, Ryan Giggs, the Wales manager, has expressed concern about his lack of playing time. Ampadu is a player who regularly features for Wales. And Giggs, of course, rates him very highly and is concerned about the lack of minutes he's getting in the Bundesliga for Leipzig since moving there. And I think when the move was announced, I think a lot of Chelsea fans are really optimistic about that move. It's a really exciting move. Leipzig are quite an exciting exciting club. The style of football they're trying to play at the moment, and it felt like a really good step for him to get those minutes, those really beneficial minutes. And I think to development now of, say, Tomori, Mount, Tammy, Reece James, all these players really benefited off of those loan moves, specifically the Championship. But Mount went on loan to Vitesse. Those loan moves away were so beneficial to learning their craft, to adapting, to growing, to just the experiences they gained from those different clubs. And for Ampadu, it's disappointing because to not feature at all, because we've seen the talent he has and the potential he has, and it must be interesting. I'd be interested to see for the club's sake with these comments from Giggs, because he's still playing for Wales even though he isn't playing for Leipzig. If his lack of playtime continues, maybe that loan move will be reevaluated in January. Now, Simon Phillips, who I reference a lot on this, was reporting about how a Bild reporter, of course, close to Leipzig in Germany, says that the club do trust him. But will that trust be reflected in game time? That's the key for Chelsea, because like I've expressed with these other players that are now first team players with Chelsea, he needs those minutes, and maybe we could reevaluate that loan move, and maybe a Premier League club might come available and want him, or a Championship move, which I think was brilliant for all of those players. We'll have to wait and see. Let me know your opinions on this loan move. Do you think Ampadu will get that game time at Leipzig, or do you think Chelsea need to reevaluate this situation and Ryan Giggs is right to be concerned? Let me know in the comments below. And the final story is quite a fun and sort of random one, which was the announcement from the club that Chelsea legend Petr Cech is to make debut as an ice hockey goalie. It's been announced on Wednesday evening that our former goalkeeper and current technical and performance advisor Petr Cech is to play competitive ice hockey. The 37-year-old will play as goalie for Guildford Phoenix, which is located close to where Cech lives. When his schedule allows, he is ready to help them in their league games. But yeah, it is a fun and interesting sort of random story to come up during the football season, and just so I could show him in an ice hockey shirt, which I think is quite funny and comical. But it's good to see. It's clearly a sport he enjoys playing, and in relation to his role back at Chelsea now, I think it's all positive. So yeah, just wanted to touch that. What are your thoughts on Petr Cech becoming an ice hockey goalie? Let me know in the comments below. So that is it for this edition of Let's Talk Chelsea. Let me know your thoughts on everything I discussed in the comments below. Really interested to hear your thoughts. Thank you guys so much for taking the time to watch this video. If you did enjoy it, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell to never miss an upload. Follow me on Twitter @SonOfChelsea, and I'll see you again.